Welcome in to European Masters. I'm Mad Magical. I'm joined in by Celtic Tiger as we get ready for day 4 of some exciting gameplay. Sorry if the camera's a little bit odd. Hopefully we'll be able to get that all sorted. But it should be an exciting day nonetheless of gameplay.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. We had this discussion before. I think there are parts of it that have been predictable looking at some of the tournament metas, but there's definitely been a lot more odd things happening, and that's been incredibly entertaining to watch as we've started out.
That it has. I mean, we've had some wild games. If we get into our replays, we can go into a couple of them. Energy Pot Wizards. One, getting an upset against Fnatic Rising, but then going up against Isuba, and it was quite the slugfest back and forth.
Yeah, they almost lost it, really, and that's the part that was so crazy for a lot of people after seeing them so heavily upset the UK scene favourites. Now looking at it again, this is the Isuba game where they're fighting over the Elder Dragon, and you see how scrappy it is. It just kills back and forth constantly, and look how long these fights get drawn out. Everyone's forced towards the objective back, and now this was the final call where Wizards had finally figured out this is how we map play. We hold them here with 2, get the rest up into the mid lane, and just run down for the end of game here. So this was the one really good map call that Wizards played throughout it.
And that's the thing with Wizards, is both their victories have been very long drawn out games. They picked up the victory against Fnatic Rising in 50 minutes, then against Isuba in 48 minutes. And I gotta give them credit, when it comes to those late game brawls, they've had amazing decision making, running it into the base, being able to find what they need to. Lucchese, especially in this mid lane, has been superb. It's something that you just weren't expecting coming into this tournament.
Yeah, I think Lucchese on the Cassiopeia and the Corki has been quite impressive, but looking now towards some of the other teams and other things that have been impressive, this is Fnatic, the team we were talking about, had just been upset by Wizards and then coming back against Mousesports in a game that it looks like they had managed to make the same mistakes in. They finally found this one pick, this one mistake that Mousesports gave them, and ran straight down the lane with it.
Promise Q giveth and Promise Q taketh away. He was able to get that triple kill on Zilean support with the fasting Senna, and I was hyped for it. I was like, look at this. He's gone back in. Then he got caught out mid lane. Fnatic Rising punished perfectly off of that mistake, and they were able to take that victory, which makes that group that much more exciting. A 3-way tie at the top, but gotta go over one more replay before we get into that, because talking about exciting games, a Go Rogue were at the precipice of winning. They had victory, but Woolite right here jumps in, and it gives it back to LDLC.
And we don't want to harp on it too much. I think it's very unfortunate, given that Woolite has such an unfortunate reputation as well, that we start to see these kind of slip-ups, because these slip-ups do happen.
They do.
Of course, there's a lot of pressure on people as they're coming into the European Masters, but it is just that little bit of the game was yours. Just needed to straighten up, sort that out, and not jump in, man. Come on.
But that's the thing. It is double round robin. You can see how the groups are now, where it's all drawn out. Group D has completed, where they all are going to play in one single day. Another chance to be able to rise to the top. But today, we have more action. Groups A, B, and C have yet to conclude this first week. So maybe this is where Go Rogue can figure out the mistakes that they made. Woolite jumping forward. Sure, they lose that one game, but that is only one loss. They can still come out on top in that group, and you can see, as the schedule is today, they're going to be going up later against Vodafone Giants, and that is a good way for them to prove that they deserve to be on top.
Yeah, I think the Ultraliga in general, aside from that one mistake, really had been having relatively clean performance. So I want to see more from them later on in the day. But first up, we do have YDN Gamers versus BTXL. And this is a matchup I'm very much looking forward to. I think a lot of the UK scene really wants to see go their way.
I was about to say, I'm like, this is exciting, but for all the wrong reasons for BTXL. They were a favorite coming into this. They had dominated the UK LC throughout this entire year, but then starting from game 2 of their finals, they have been on this massive slump that continues into European Masters, not finding a victory in so long. Going up against YDN Gamers, who have had a couple difficulties. That first game against Gamer Legion was not their cleanest. Bad draft really put them at a disadvantage immediately, but then against Gamers Origin, it looked a little bit better. There were points that that they could have come back into the game. Unfortunately, they lose that. This is their time to shine. Say, okay, we've had some difficult times in our draft. We cleaned those up. We beat BTXL. Suddenly, we have a chance to be able to get out of the group.
Yeah, and I think it's not just that their drafts were particularly bad. It's honestly some of the people drafting against them were quite strong. Now coming up against XL, who, as you said, have gone 0-2 against the same people, maybe this is your chance to get that win for Italy.
As you can see, Pick and Ban has already commenced Syndra Senna, taken away by YDN. Not too surprised to see that. Gragas, though, banned by BTXL. They just aren't really wanting to put Taxer on that. Plus, Tabasko on Gragas has been one of those things you cannot give over. The Polish jungler pretty much representing here for PG Nationals out of Italy. But he has been a dominant force. One of the main reasons YDN were able to dominate in Italy and are trying to see if they can replicate that in European Masters.
Yeah, I think you have seen Tabasko, while he is a big Polish jungler, known for their carry performances, has also not shied away from just going for the standard utility. Gragas is a good kind of hybrid of the two. Elise is also one of the stronger picks that Tabasko tends to go for that may still get locked in.
The Trundle is something that has been dominating thus far in European Masters, was banned by YDN, as they're going to be able to grab Sett, something that has had the only champion that has had 100% presence through picks and bans. First pick, lock in immediately, has that flexibility, could go for Cospect, could go for Phantomles or Gabbo, or even just go into the jungle. There's so many things that you could do, but with that Kalista taken by Deadly on the other side, it's less likely you'll probably see it as that support.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to see the Aphelios Thresh response. Instead, they go for the Kalista Ornn. You're going to go, I assume, Ornn to the top lane, Kalista then to the bot lane. Interested to see what support they want to follow this up with. kaSing, willing to go very aggressive with some of his picks, so they might even hold off past ban phase 2 to bring some more out. But actually, Endz going to respond with the Draven. I like that. It's actually his most played domestically, that Draven AD carry.
I like that. Going for this aggression. Kalista does struggle in the lane phase, so what better way than to try to say it's about lane kingdom. Endz and Cospect have had probably one of the more interesting journeys. And you look over to PG Nationals, they were a dominant force there. They were able to play the Dravens, the Sett supports. They always try to win lane, but they're going up against Deadly and kaSing. Everyone knows kaSing, but Deadly, he was second place, the runner-up with Vodafone Giants in the last European Masters, and now is trying to see if they can do that success for UK here, and going to have a difficult time against Draven with Kalista.
Yeah, what I do like here is you can see on YDN side, though, they're already going for a very mid-game focused team. You want to end that game quickly, snowball hard, pick people off, and just run down for the victory. Already maybe a more cohesive draft than we have seen from them in the past, but on the other side, it's not like XL are missing things that they're happy with. You can see the Thresh, getting rid of the Morgana as well, so you can't block those hooks is a very big part of that. Wouldn't even be surprised to see maybe the Tam Kench followed up here to avoid that as well.
That could be the possibility, just to make sure, like you said, the safety, so you don't have to worry about if the hook lands onto Endz. Draven is something that, if caught out, is going to get blown up immediately, so you would make sure that you want to pick him off right away.
See what they do end up deciding to go for. We actually see maybe the LeBlanc taken away. They actually don't go for that last ban. This is a strategy we've seen some of the other coaches bring out. We're calling it a strategy, because that's all we can assume, so interested to see what they end up locking for themselves here. My expectation would be that they're holding off on that final solo laner, and they're going to pick up a jungler here.
One thing I don't want to see for YDN is, since, like you said, it wasn't the ban of Tahm Kench like we were expecting. Oh, whoa, Irelia picked up. The first time we're going to see Irelia. She's only been banned so far, and that was actually just aimed at Leader, making sure that Leader's not able to play that. So seeing Irelia, the flexibility that you can easily put her into mid or top. Same with Ornn. You really aren't exactly sure where he's going to go. I'd expect it still to be the top lane, but he could go jungle if they really want to spice things up, while Nautilus was the option Cospect went for.
Yeah, Nautilus I think makes sense. You're going for aggression. It also responds decently into the Thresh. Kind of aggression for aggression there. So it'll be interesting to see how Endz Cospect managed to bring that out. But jungler now for Tabasko, you'll be locking blind. Interesting that Taxer specifically wants the counter matchup there, but it is going to be Tabasko's classic Elise.
Going for the classic, since Gragas was banned away, trying to get this early AP jungler, try to easily gank, get these lanes ahead. It works so well with what YDN have already gotten in their composition. You have Sett in the top lane, who's going to try to see if he can bully around as much as possible. The Zoe mid lane will be able to poke pretty heavily, but bot lane's really where I'm looking. Have an Endz and Cospect, Draven, Nautilus lane. They are going to try to see if they can get these early kills, get Endz snowballing, and that is what BTXL need to make sure does not happen. They have a lot of scaling on their side, but is fine, but if you fall behind early, YDN have a lot of ways to snowball out of control.
That's it. It's the massive snowball comp on the side of YDN. A lot of pick potential there with both Zoe and Elise being very good at that. On the other side, I do actually like the final lock-in there, going for the Sejuani into the Elise. Also, it means that there isn't just one tank for Sett to choose to ult in most of these fights. You actually have a few things you'd have to choose between, and it's also going to be hard to burst out this comp in general, which means that their mid-game will be easier to push through and maybe get towards, as you said, that scaling later on.
Exactly. You have the tank in Sejuani, but you always got to talk about Ornn and the ornament that he's able to give and provide for his team, that scaling option they'll have innately just with picking those two champions. They're going to be able to hopefully survive. That's what you want if you're an XL fan. If you're rooting for UK, you're hoping that they're going to be able to not fall too far behind. However, I do want to talk about what Sejuani can bring to the table, how she has these skirmish capabilities, especially with the double melee in top and mid. You have Irelia, you have Ornn, that makes it so that if they can get ahead, if they can start pushing out these lanes, they can start rallying with Taxer, punish Tabasko playing this Elise, something that can do a lot of damage, but is going to be threatened in these invades.
And that's why I actually agree with both mid laners here choosing to go cleanse. On one side, you need that against Zoe in general, but also against Elise is extremely common. On the other, we are talking about the fact that Sejuani has that free engage opportunity and how easy it is to follow up on not only just a melee auto attacker, but one that has a stun themselves in Irelia. So really want to get away from that CC as soon as possible.
Now, Tag, we were talking a little bit before. We're getting to know each other before the cast, and you told me that you're a jungler player. You like to play Evelynn, though, more on the AP side. So, put yourself in Tabasko's shoes. You're playing Elise into Sejuani Ornn. What do you want to do to try to make sure you can get someone like Endz ahead?
Okay, first of all, top lane, we're out. Ignore it. It's gone. Not in the map.
All right.
You're used to it. That's fine. Don't be too insulting. The mid and bot side are both so volatile, but with that cleanse in the mid lane, you're going to want to play around how your mid laner sees the opportunities, where they're going to do, if they can allow the wave to push towards them and then make the play that way to see if you can get it even without the cleanse, get both summoners and then repeat gank. Realistically, the easier gank for you and the better place to snowball is down bot lane, either for or against the Draven, depending which side of the matchup you're sitting on. Because a dying Draven isn't particularly useful, a Draven getting kills extremely useful.
Special was hanging around on that bottom half of the river a little bit awkwardly. I was kind of just staring at that. But you got a good point, just talking about getting this Draven ahead and how volatile this bot lane can be, which is, I think, why Taxer has been hanging around this bottom half. Same with Special, kind of just hugging down there, making sure that we can easily hold on to the bottom half of the map, but not gonna actually see too much action. It's just gonna be the lanes pushing in, Endz and Cospect getting shoved out. Try to see if they can just wait a little bit of time.
And while that's kind of the top level of it, you're seeing how the bot lanes are responding to that. They're going, okay, on the side of Endz Cospect, we're immobile. We're not going to try rush the level 2 because we don't want to push that wave in. We want to let our Elise be able to get around the enemy and maybe find us a kill that way. So we're going to let them push towards us, we're going to play very far back, and we're going to find the aggressive play later on and avoid Sejuani maybe trying to get the anti-snowball going.
Don't want to be snowballed out of control and have to worry about Irelia especially getting out of control. There's a reason why leaders had that banned every time before, but it's Special playing it. Not going to be in the hands that we're used to seeing it, and we'll see exactly what Special will be able to do when piloting such a volatile champion, but it is against Phantomles, something that can easily deny Sleepy Trouble Bubble connecting. That's something that can scare an Irelia from going too far, which is why the cleanse is so necessary, but there's only so much you can cleanse.
Yeah, and while you're talking a lot about leader, I think it is worth noting Special, well known in his own right, previously was the sub for Misfits when they were in the LEC as well, so has been kind of hovering at kind of the top level of European Masters and then just below LEC as well. So is another one of those players that is using this tournament as a way to kind of prove where they should be standing.
There's Gabbo trying to fight with Sendo, but Taxer nearby. Gonna be able to get the flash out of Sett. Tabasko was there too. I'm surprised that Gabbo actually flashed for that, not just waiting for Tabasko to see if they could try to collapse back.
Yeah, I think just deciding to play it safe there. You do actually have a surprising amount of burst as Sejuani Ornn this early on. You can see Taxer actually planning on waiting around here. You're seeing this specifically from both UK junglers in this tournament, trying to go for very aggressive early plays, even when they pick champions that you wouldn't consider to be as aggressive.
Especially into Sett, try to make sure that he's not going to be too much of a threat coming into this mid game where he's more of that bruiser style, can really dish out the damage. And I'm curious to see if Gabbo is going to go for that Blade of the Ruin King build that we've seen cropping up on sets in the top lane, especially since there's so much tankiness on the side of XL.
Yeah, I think the Blade of the Ruin King build is so good because it's not like it's not useful outside of those tanks as well. It will be good for chasing down the likes of Irelia and such. So that would be my expectation, but we'll see how it continues forward. On the other side, though, it is worth bringing back that we discussed this bot lane as something that would be probably quite heavily focused around for the junglers. It's interesting that they both decided to play towards the top lane, maybe expecting that the plays would be towards bot. You can see how much vision has been focused in the bot lane. So maybe aware of that fact, they're going, okay, the chance of us making a bot lane play with the amount of wards that are there looks slim. We're going to wait to establish vision control, but in the meantime, we're going to maybe try hover towards that top side and see if we can find something.
And it's giving a bit of a lead over to Gabbo by being able to hover around that top side. He's got a decent CS lead. Sendo, since it was crashing back towards his own turret, is going to be able to catch up, but I'm just looking towards the spot lane now. Looking at how much vision control Taxer has been able to put down there to deny Tabasko that avenue that we were talking about pre-game. Using the spot lane, the volatility of a Draven Nautilus, who want to be able to get these early picks, and denying that completely and utterly.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because if you look at the bot lane they're coming up against, those are some well-known names. kaSing, obviously a very storied past throughout the EU LCS, LEC, and just in general has kind of shown up on some of these UK teams as well. So a lot of kind of bravery going into this, but now we see the play.
Flash Phantomles almost solo killed there by Special. Had to pull Flash, did not opt to use Cleanse to be able to get out of there, but Special, I gotta give him credit on that. He saw his opportunity, he saw how Phantomles had pushed out maybe a little bit too far, and with the vision control they have on the bottom half of the map, they knew Tabasko couldn't answer. With that play, no mid laner, easy turn onto the Cloud Dragon.
Yep, they managed to bully out the Zoe. You had the push going in the bot lane as well. So, as you said, easy turn for this Cloud Dragon. Not the worst one to give over, but a good start for XL. We've seen how quickly these games can turn based on that Dragon Soul and how early you can get the Dragon Soul when you already started so early on.
Since the bottom half of the map is now over and controlled by XL, Tabasko, Gabbo, trying to see if they can flip it around. Be like, all right, we cut the map in half. You can have the bottom half of the map, even though we wanted to be able to work around Endz and Cospect. Instead, we take away your red buff. We've got a couple plates that Gabbo was able to get on this set, so he's going to be a little bit scarier into Sendo. It just doesn't feel like the gameplay, though, for YDN worked out the way they want, and I'm wondering, what is the backup plan? What can they now fall back to in order to try to see if they can alleviate some of that pressure in the bot lane for Endz and Cospect?
This is the great start. You already see Endz has started at Cospect to follow. Immediately go for the rotations. Like, okay, we lost that dragon, fine. We know that they want to go for Herald next. We're going to beat them to that rotation, get that lane pushed in, and as Herald spawns, we're going to be the first to it, and that will keep our snowball going. Good choice there from YDN.
This is what we want to see out of YDN, these sort of plays. We got to see a little bit of glimpses against Gamers Origin the other day. Now it's coming into effect. Much better draft this time, a lot cleaner, being able to play around their strengths and weaknesses. They lost out in the bot lane. Immediately, they're going to be able to get this Rift Herald. Special trying to hover around, but with Taxer nowhere to be seen. He was on the bottom half of the map, not going to be able to fight over it. So Sendo, instead, pokes his head through the bush, and then they're going to be able to jump on Special on the other side. Lantern to be able to get out of there and safe.
Okay, they managed to get away from that one, but I like the set ult there. It might have looked unnecessary, but it was avoiding potentially an Ornn ult from one side and Irelia ulting the other, and everyone being CC'd in the meantime. Good way to just make sure you get that Herald uncontested.
Dead lane kaSing gonna match that lane swap that was already there from Endz and Cospect. two players we haven't really got a hit on too much. These two players have actually been to European Masters a couple times. Cospect, this is his third appearance in European Masters, second time being a support for Endz.
Yeah, you can see that in the previous time they played together. It was on CP Sparks. Unfortunately, they went to 0-3. Last time Cospect was here, he was with Ensure, the Lithuanian team. Also went to 0-3. So I really appreciate the bravery of going for something so aggressive against such a well-known bot lane to really push for that redemption arc that you've so desperately been looking for in EU Masters.
And what a time to do that. What a time, like you said. Go for the bold play. Get that power bot lane, Draven, Nautilus. Try to see if you can get these early kills and snowball out of control, because clearly you needed to change something before. They weren't able to get that victory against Gamers Origin. They had an unfortunate draft against Gamer Legion. That was the Poppy support draft that countered every single one of the champs they had secured in that very first day. It was definitely not something that anybody who is an Italian fan likes to see, nor if you're a Tabasko fan. But this draft does look a lot cleaner. It does have some weaknesses. We've mentioned that they will get outscaled if the game lasts too long, but they're doing what they can to make sure not only to stay even, but soon, I'd imagine, that's when they're going to try to see if they can really make that power play. Get some more gold, get the kills onto Endz, so then they can get the end.
And on the other side of that matchup, the person we haven't mentioned is Deadly. We've talked a lot about kaSing, how a lot of people will know where he comes from. Deadly, however, isn't too shabby himself. Did come second in the last European Masters.
He got second place. That guy's really good.
Second place is just first loser, okay?
I mean, you have to beat a lot of teams just to get second. Keep that in mind.
Exactly. Realistically, of course, extremely well done, and is someone who is quite scary if you're coming in as someone who has actually yet to take a victory in European Masters.
YDN all grouped here underneath the turret. This isn't looking like such a good dive, so they're trying to see if they can dive out. Taxer had to flash over the wall. Special taking the brunt of the damage, had to flash himself. Look at the Phantomles, though, trying to see if he can jump in. First blood to Tabasko with Taxer running for the hills. The flash coming in with the cocoon to land. Double kill for Tabasko.
And that is, again, I think it might be a bit too early to call, but these Polish junglers, they're still so damn strong, even when they're playing for Italian teams.
Honestly, there's something with Poland and how they've got some strong teams. Keep in mind, we've talked about the Ultra Liga before, and you got Tabasko here, even if he's playing for PG National for Italy. He is doing a great job and showing people why he has been someone a lot of fans rally around, why there's some analysts who talked about this guy and say, you got to keep your eyes on Tabasko.
I mean, this is a player who's come out of retirement in the past just to play in the tournament. So, massive respect for staying not only relevant, but strong in these kind of tournaments.
Plus, he's going against no slouch himself in Taxer. On the other side, well-known jungler who's been around the scene for a good amount of time and trying to see if he can prove himself as well. So, being able to not only keep up with this player, but be able to make these proactive plays. We get to see this replay of this dive where at first I was kind of questioning it. I was wondering if this is really the play you want to go. You can see the setup. Sendo is there, and there's a wraparound that's about to happen already from Special. Coming in from Taxer as well. But it looked a little too ambitious.
This is Elise, though. You always want to go for the dives with the Elise. You have such an easy way to do it. A good attempt to counter, but with so many numbers there, very quickly turned around. Gabbo just forces that down. Phantomles even coming in from the side. The numbers just weren't there for XL. You're better off just giving that up and walking away.
Completely agree, but they gave up 2 kills instead to Tabasko on Elise, something that wants to snowball. Getting these early kills onto this really volatile jungler is what we were wondering when YDN were going to make that play. I was hoping that they'd get the kills onto Endz, but getting it onto an Elise is just as strong in my opinion.
Well, I wouldn't say just as strong, but certainly it's a good thing to have happen in the meantime. You're still stacking up as the Draven. You still want him to get the kills so he can cash in. But,
of course,
fact is, you have a strong jungler. She's going to be able to make picks like that happen.
Well, this could be the kill that they want to give to Endz. Sendo trying to get out of there. Here comes the Ornn horn looking for the knockup. It's going to be on to Tabasko, who takes way too much damage to the shutdown. Sendo turns it around on that tank. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be out of this one anytime soon. It will be the kill for Endz, but still, despite that, it is a 1-for-1.
Sendo Absolutely destroying their hopes there very quickly. Eventually goes down. They do get the Draven cash in, but at such a large cost, they really weren't looking to give over.
Phantomles has to go golden. The Bach put down. Going to be able to get the showstopper onto Deadly. Same with the pull back. Looking for the snipe, the predict out of Phantomles. Deadly. That was so unfortunate. I believe it was with the lantern clicked. Phantomles said, not today.
Mid-lantern picking him off. Phantomles showing why they went for this early lock Zoe. Beautifully aimed.
That was something else. Honestly, I thought it was a flash from Deadly, but that's why I had to look at what was there. He didn't use flash. He grabbed onto the lantern trying to escape, and Phantomless with the predict to be able to say, I see what you're trying to do. There's no getting out of this one. Bops the head of Kalista, bops the head of Deadly. YDN are out to the start that we wanted to see from them here on day 4.
Yeah, and I think looking as well at what they have, they are ahead in gold. They are starting a snowball. Yes, it's relatively small lead, but it's still going their way. Need to start turning that into more and more objectives. But here it is, one more time, just in case you missed it. They go for the very aggressive play. Zonya's to start the stopwatch, rather. Then jump back and look at this aim. Mid, right center of the lantern path to hit him.
That is so good from Phantomless. I love those kind of predict plays where you see the escape, you know what they're going to try to attempt. Deadly would have been better off just walking the other way or flashing over the wall instead of trying to grab the lantern. It was a death sentence, but unfortunately for his own teammate.
Looking at this now, though, this is going to be the Herald started up by XL, but this time YDN are in position to contest. Gabbo, however, has not TP'd in yet. I'm expecting that to come short.
There's the call of the Fort God, going to be able to get the knockup onto Tabasko. Here is that TP play. They're going to finally see if they go on to pull the trigger. Whirling Death getting a lot of damage on attack, so he's going to be able to heal up. With Rick Herald taken so low, Harriet still up. Looking to see if they can get the rent stacks coming in from Deadly. They've stacked up for so long. They should be able to easily secure that, but can they grab the eye? That's the true question. Actually, this might had gone over to YDN. It was a mess up by XL. They had the rent stacks, they had the smite, but they lost the objective.
I think it was just the pressure coming off there, trying to use, instead of focusing on using the rend stacks, it was the Kalista actually focused on the kiting entirely. Did not, as you say, pick up the Herald, so this is going to be the snowball that YDN are looking for, continuing now down this mid lane.
And opening up this tier 1 is going to be crucial. Tabasko's already 2-1 on this Elise, being able to control Taxer in this mid game, not allowing the scaling composition to be able to get to where they need to be, to feel powerful, to feel impactful. Instead, they've cut that out and are putting the pressure on when we wanted it.
Okay, let's have a look here. We have now the reset coming in, but Phantomless, again, strength of Zoe. This point of the game, you're already starting to chunk out some of these members. We talked about this from XL, though. They do have a lot of tanks. They do have a lot of ways to soak this pick potential. It is becoming more and more difficult as YDN continue to snowball, though, because even the tanks are starting to feel the brunt of that damage.
But they're not at the point yet where they can really feel that. You look over towards Taxer, still working on getting a full item. Only has boots, only has Cinderhulk. That's not exactly where you want the Sejuani to be, who can easily get bopped by Phantomless. Only Sendo is feeling pretty tanky, which is why you can tell that YDN want to be able to find this fight. Whirling Death's going to be able to get a lot of damage on the special, and the knockup comes in from Sendo, but look at Taxer, take it so low, try to see if they can jump onto Tabasko, but they're not going to be able to. That's Special finding the pick that he needed to. Then they get the kill onto Gabbo. Special is starting to win the fight for the team. Blade of the Ruined King with Irelia always works out in the end. This is a fight that went disastrously for YDN. BTXL, they found the pick that they needed to, and it was an overcommit out of Italy.
Doesn't look like Zoe's done here, but realistically YDN are. That was a huge loss for them. Fight they really needed to win, but the overcommit to Special, looking for that Irelia, who was able to turn so quickly. The damage onto Tabasko in that moment was huge.
Not able to burst the one person that they needed to. You take out this Irelia, they have a good chance to win. They might be able to pad their KDA a little bit by getting the kill on the kaSing. He always pulled
save.
out. Good save coming in from Deadly. Not only saving the support, but then, because they won that fight, they're able to take a lot of this objective lead. We can look at the replay and see what went wrong.
See, I actually really like this from Gabbo. You force the tank back onto the Irelia, you throw a lot down, but using the repel there for Tabasko just started with getting chunked out hugely. Special sees that, just goes laser points right onto that point. And from there, no one is left who can deal with the Irelia because your carries have no front line to protect them, and you're forced to run away.
And with that, it's now given that lead that YDN had crafted for themselves and given over to XL. XL capitalized perfectly on that play, found what they needed to, and we gotta give Special so much credit in that fight. This Irelia being able to find that power spike in Blade of the Ruined King, plus getting the resets with Qs, being able to dash around everywhere, is so crucial for XL now. Now they found that power. Now they're able to push back into YDN. They're no longer having to worry about their own jungle being controlled by Tabasko.
And this is what we were talking about. Special, ex-LEC sub. He's still looking to prove himself. That's a great way to start. Start making those big plays on the Irelia.
This could be the snowball that BTXL needed. Irelia's starting to feel a little bit powerful, but
it's still so even, though. I mean, look at that gold. It's not even 1,000 in it. Barely a few hundred.
True. But remember,
and YDN, I'd say...
We talked about this. We said that YDN have this composition that wants to be able to snowball. They need to be able to control this mid game. When you have a Zoe that's 1,500 gold behind an Irelia, you're not going to be able to control things too well.
I think that's the major issue. You still have huge chunks coming out from Zoe, so Phantomles still playing well, but this is one of the issues we have seen with other Zoe picks. Fact is, if they start if the team you're against starts scaling up and you're forced to team fight, you could just fall apart, because if you're being heavily engaged upon a Zoe, you don't have a lot to get away with.
I love Sendo's little dance there, just gonna taunt in the minions, but he knew that Gabbo was nearby, getting that Krug, being like, aha, over here dancing.
Oh, Ornn. He's the kind of champion you just have a bit of extra time on. Might as well throw in a dance.
Exactly.
Got a few minutes, I guess.
I mean, really, he could have probably just kept the dance going. He's got Sunfire Cape. It's not like the minions are going to be able to do any real damage to him.
Yeah, however, on the other side, you do still have the Blade of the Ruined King picked up by Sett, who we talked about is looking to chunk through these tanks. But the issue is, Sendo, pretty close to tower. Doesn't have to walk out. No major pressure there. Is pretty happy to just sit by.
Exactly, and that's going to really cut the power that Gabbo has with that Blade of the Ruined King, where they want to be able to have Gabbo on an island against Sendo. Should usually be able to win this fight, even though Sendo is trying to go on the aggressive. It's Blade of the Ruined King for Gabbo, for Sett. If he really wanted to be able to fight, he could have. However, on the vision, he was able to see that kaSing was on his way, and he was afraid, with no turret to fall back to, no tier 1, that it was an easy collapse. Taxer could easily make short work of him. This Sett isn't going to be able to survive. It's not the bruiser build that you, well, not yet at least, it's going to be, but not tanky enough to be able to survive a gank.
Let's see. Good turnaround from XL, though.
Good
Looking
cleanse.
for the mid tower, forcing the cleanse, though, from the Irelia.
That's going to be a nice thing to be able to get out of Special, so going to be a little bit easier to pick off in the next possible fight, especially since Special is the one we're going to keep our eyes out for. Deadly, of course, is going to get scarier. Has Blade of the Ruined King himself, but also has that Runon's Hurricane to be able to do a lot more damage and get more Ren stacks wherever possible. So even if you do focus on a Special, Deadly is that carry who's starting to be able to be a more of a threat whenever there is a possible fight from YDN.
And looking to see if they can make picks, though. Again, this is what we talked about as the strength of their comp. You have the Zoe, you have Elise. If you can just land one of those key E's on the right person, you could suddenly very quickly turn what's looking to be a bit of a stalemate right now.
But this is what we said was going to benefit BTN. YDN, I'm wondering, BTXL, sorry, YDN need to find some sort of play, and I gotta ask you, Tig, when do they do that? When do they make the call to go for the fight? Because if this game keeps scaling up, I don't see that it's going to work for them.
Well, with the dragon spawning now, it's probably the best time, but on the other side...
Oh no, Gabbo taking so much damage, was able to get the Haymaker to try to see if he could survive. No knockup comes in from the Ornn Horn. Call of the Forge God was knocked up too long for him to be able to press back. Sendo is pretty tanky, though. He's able to sit in the front, not worried about YDN putting the pressure on just yet.
Let's see, good poke by Phantomles thus far, though.
Ooh, nice. Fate's call comes in from Deadly to be able to keep kaSing alive. And they're going to be able to go back in on to Cospect with Gabbo doing a lot of damage. kaSing's taken so low, finally going to die over to Gabbo with it being a 4v5. You got Deadly pretty low. He's trying to see if he can escape from Phantomles, but the Phantomles not going to let him get out of that one alive. With them gone, the bot lane's dead. Deadly, kaSing gone. It's going to be an easy Mountain Dragon to even up the objectives.
Phantomles doing a lot of work for the team there, getting all the poke down, forcing so many abilities just to avoid Zoe damage, and then at the end still managing to chase down for the cleanup. This is perfect. This is the strength of Zoe in the mid game. They're finding these picks, forcing out these abilities, and then capitalizing straight away.
Oh, this is a very ballsy play coming in from YDN. They go immediately to Baron, saying, Taxer, you're down to 50%. We saw you on the ward. You gotta see if you can fight this. There's no more mugs. There's no heal coming in from BTXL. Instead, they're gonna have to see if they can get the TP coming in. They turn their attention back on Taxer, get a lot of damage. The drives are gonna be able to connect on Special, try to see if they can take him out, but they already got Tabasko to take the Baron, poke down Special. Endz, did he? Oh, I thought he was gonna flash over the wall and try to go for that play.
I like the avoiding the flip there by throwing the Nautilus at the Sejuani. On top of that, you still have the Q as Elise, so it's not maybe quite the 50-50 you're thinking. At the same time, still entirely too dangerous to allow Taxer in there. Previously in the UK, known for how many Baron steals he can get off, so better to just avoid that potential altogether.
And I'm pretty sure he got a good... No, he was the one who got it stolen yesterday. The Baron was stolen against him by Ravel, so he was hoping to see if he could do that himself, but we're taking a replay on this long, drawn-out fight around the Mountain Dragon. I think that Sendo using the Call of the Forge God there and getting nothing to knock up is partly why they lost.
But look at Phantomles this whole time. Every single E is landing, being chased up, forces the Kalista ult just to save from that damage. They go for the re-engage. Phantomles in the meantime joins back in, looks for another pick, throws out onto Special to try avoid the Irelia joining in. Throws out another E into the center so no one can go there. Chases down the last pick. Everyone being so heavily zoned by even just this Zoe. And of course Gabbo being able to rejoin, doing a huge amount of damage there as well.
This is what YDN have needed. We talked about it before. The first day, they struggled. It was not a clean game. It was not the best draft out of them against Gamer Legion. But then against Gamers Origin, it looked better. There were paths for them to be able to win. Unfortunately, they ended up dropping that one around a couple of bad fights in the late game. This time, it's looking even better. Each and every game from this Italian squad has gotten better and better. They're looking to see if they can pick up not only their first victory of this European Master, but Endz and Cospect's first victory in all European Masters.
Now, we've talked about, obviously, how well Italy are doing a lot. That being said, there's still not even a 1k gold lead. I think this tower will start that. Just about.
I'm glad you brought that up,
BTXL
actually.
have the scaling. They have the ability to come back into this if they can weather this storm, if they can avoid all the Phantomles poke, if they can avoid all the pick potential coming out from YDN. However, YDN taking a more methodical approach now. You have strong siege with the poke. That's what you're following up with.
See, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That's what I was saying. I like that point, because BTXL are not out of this by any means. They are making sure to stay relatively even on gold, despite the fact they're pushed down to their inhibitor turret in this mid lane. Baron buff on the heads of YDN. They're not that far behind in gold. Phantomles is putting a lot of pressure onto them, but they're just waiting. All BTXL need to do is see if they can stop some of the bleeding. Don't lose too much. They might lose a turret here and there, but as long as they don't lose everything, they can easily make a better fight around a future objective.
Here you see the Elise poke with the Leandries on the Volatile Spiderling. It's just the Zoe doing everything else. The one issue for them is the fact that, realistically, Endz can't do much unless the major engage happens. Draven isn't providing much from range. You see the occasional ult going down, but that's only when you're hard committing to an objective. We'll just have to hold, and that gives a lot of time for especially Sendo to potentially look for an engaged Taxer as well. Looking for those big ultimates to maybe pick off one key member and really start off a fight in your favor.
But with the Sleepy Trouble bubble missing, YDN make a good call. They back off of that fight, not wanting to fall into the trap you were just mentioning that BTXL were trying to put them in. Make them fight at your own base when you had it easily controlled. You had plenty of vision to know what YDN wanted to do. Had the Sleepy Trouble bubble connected, I think that's when they could have looked for a pick onto someone like Deadly or someone like Special. Cut them down while they have this lead, but they can't do it anymore. They've gotten 2 turrets. They got a pretty good lead and a pretty good control on the map. YDN make a smart call, saying, okay, we're going to wait it out a little bit. We didn't get that big of a lead. It's only 1,500 gold that they have over BTXL, and we're only 28 minutes into the game.
Yeah, I'm interested to see now how they decide to respond to this, because you actually have gone for the Mercurial Scimitar on the Kalista as well, trying to make these picks as hard as possible for YDN. That's the big focus now, because as we talked, all you have to do is manage to wait them out, and you should be able to take them on later on. You have Ornn items coming in as well, helping you out. These big fights around the objectives, though, are where you need to force the issue as YDN, and where BTXL need to avoid them snowballing.
BTXL trying to see if they can at least get a flank from Special, but Tabasko, he was the one to cut off Special, but that's a 4-level difference. Special, I'm surprised, didn't want to jump just immediately onto Tabasko. Had to use the cleanse to be able to get out of that cocoon. Well, Gabbo is able to route everyone else. All 5 get hit by the showstopper, pulled back in as well. Look at the damage that comes in. Have to use the fake call to be able to keep kaSing alive. They even got the knockup coming in from Sendo, but they've been routed. They have to bail out of the fight because there was so much damage that was laid down by Gabbo.
And that was a massive ult engage by Gabbo, just put a huge amount of damage on everyone, knock everyone back, and as you saw, they're just forced to use everything to get away. And if you see the start of that, it was the Irelia being forced to cleanse and run away. Now, I think you were even saying it as you watched it, you were going, you don't need to stop there, you should just jump. They have no vision. It had all been cleared out. He had no idea who was behind the Elise, so he can't just jump for the engage or just get jumped on, because he has no clue who could be coming.
And that's a great point. BTXL cannot do that. They can't go for those risky plays because they don't know what's behind the spider. You don't know what lies in the darkness and what might, like right there, Taxer face checking Tabasko. You don't know if other people could easily follow up. You have no idea where Phantomles is. You don't know where Cospect is. You only really knew where Endz was, and just knowing where Draven is, who has Whirling Death that he could probably use at any time. It is on cooldown now, but not going to be for very long.
Watching it now. This is the next major objective. It's going to be this Baron. There's going to be no Dragon up, so no potential split objective call. BTXL have the vision in the area. You can see Special kind of wants to make a pick, realizing that it would just be him alone. Maybe not the best call in the world. kaSing gets hit.
Here's the TP in. Cospect taking so much damage, but kaSing taking way too much more. Vanguard's Edge was able to knock onto Cospect and onto Gabbo, but in the back line, they're going to get the kill onto kaSing and look to see if they can turn it around on Taxer, because that's the one they want to be able to take out with a showstopper. Deadly having to get over the wall, but he cannot escape. It's a shutdown coming in for Endz. They go on to Special as well, but Special unfortunately can't make it work. Triple kill for Draven. That's the one that's not going to be able to carry them. They immediately make the call. No recall today, Sendo. We get the objective. It's going to be our second Baron of the game, and then we should be able to win off of that.
Yeah, you see there's going to be a long fight in the top lane. We're going to focus over towards that Baron, which is going down. In the meantime, Phantomles goes, okay, I may not have the ability to take out a tank quickly, but Gabbo can hold him still while we eventually pick up the ace. Massive win for YDN. And I think the UK scene has their head in their hands, as this could potentially be the move to going 0-3 in this group for BTXL, to have not picked up a win since the reverse sweep of Fnatic in the UK finals.
The slide continues for XL, but YDN feel empowered. They feel invigorated. We look at this fight, and this is where YDN knew they had them pinched. Even though you think you have TP play that you can make with an Ornn, it's too little too late. kaSing took too much damage at the beginning.
You're playing so far forward into a team who's looking to pick you as well. You established some vision, but they were still able to walk through that. They were still able to get around you. And look at the amount of damage Deadly got hit with there with the Gabbo ult. Using that on the Gargoyle Stone-plated Sejuani. Because it's all based on percentage HP, you just instantly chunk out Deadly, and it just takes one more hit from the Draven Axe to clear him out.
And this is a nearly full build Draven now. Only waiting for one more item to have that completed. This is the spike you need, but BTXL do not want to give up too easily. Gabbo taking a lot of damage, but he is so tanky at this point. Trying to get out, but it's going to be the shutdown for Deadly. Gabbo overcommitting. XL able to punish the fact that YDN thought it was over.
This is the similar thing that got Fnatic back into their game against Mousesports. It was, okay, you've split someone off to the side who can't make it to this play. Let's just throw down the Ornn. Let's try to make an engage happen. This time, though, YDN play that bit further back. They go, okay, we're giving up Sett. That's fine. It'll take you a little while to take him out while the rest of us make our way out. A mistake but one that's not so costly.
Exactly. Even though they are they're too far out, they make this pick for XL, but they can't get anything off of this. We get a look. Tabasko is all the way on the top side. I don't know.
But as soon as he's visible, look what the call is. Taxer, run forward, throw out the Ornn, throw out the Kalista ult, everything. And Gabbo goes, no, I put my life on the line. Leave, my friends. And they make it out.
Fly, you fools. That's what he was saying there. He was trying to keep them all alive, but now that he's finally respawned, again, they didn't lose anything. They didn't have to worry about a dragon. There was no dragon up. It's only about to respawn here in 35 seconds. This is probably the best time for Gabbo to get caught out. They don't have to worry about a Baron. They don't have to worry about any lanes getting shoved in because they're all slowly but surely working their way towards the XL base. Top lane, mid lane, bot lane. You can see the slow push that's already been set up.
You see Mountain Soul now, the call for YDN. See XL want to make the engage happen though.
Looking for the pick, but it's on to Cospect. He's way too tanky to be able to kill. Endz is the one that special jumps on and gets the shutdown too. Take out the Draven, take out the damage. But now they got to make sure that they're getting the rest of the members. Got to worry about Tabasko and Phantomles. They're going to be someone who could put a lot of damage into the backline, which is why they have to back off. They're waiting it out, hoping that they're not going to get tagged by Phantomles, but because they were able to get the pick onto Endz, they feel confident enough to clear out some of the vision and possibly contest this dragon.
They're now going to push forward for it. You still have the Elise potential to get in there with the repel. You can Q smite as well. That will do more than anything Taxer should be able to have unless you can get the rend off with the smite. I think that's what they're aiming for now. You want special there to get rid of them.
Not going to be able to get it in there too easily, though. Look at Gabbo putting a lot of damage. If he has that Blade of the Ruin King, makes it difficult, but Sendo in the backline is able to get the repel out of Elise. Tabasko, too little, too late to be able to steal that, and they pick up the kill. BTXL holding out strong in the face of defeat.
Managing to avoid giving over the Mountain Soul. Dragon Soul that will be so helpful on them, but watch this fight again. It is all about them getting to Endz. Killing Endz justifies the means, and that's what they're looking for. Jump right forward there as special. Throw the Ornn Horn right through everyone. Even with Gabbo distracting most of the members, it doesn't matter. Special made his way in, he made his way out.
That's why we said so long ago to keep your eyes on Special no matter the cost. Deadly might be able to have enough damage, especially going to have additional safety with not only the Mercurial Scimitar, but that Guardian's Angel too. But it's all about Special making sure to constantly harass Endz in the backline, which stops YDN from ever actually wanting to start a fight. They have to make sure they're keeping this Draven alive, and this Draven made sure that he's keeping himself alive by getting a Quicksilver Sash.
And they're continuing to scale on the side of XL. They're still behind in gold. YDN have managed to snowball decently. However, you can see the double lifesteal build on the Irelia and no grievous wounds on the other side means that in these team fights, Irelia, even more so than before, is a massive force to be reckoned with.
YDN looking to see if they can get a pick. Sleepy Trouble Bubble connects onto Sendo, but it is Ornn. He's going to be pretty tanky, pretty difficult to be able to burst down. They still try to go for the fight. Special hasn't been there this entire time. Soon going to be able to jump. He wants to be able to get the Endz, but it's too many members in the way. Gabbo taking the brunt of it. Haymaker gives him a massive shield. It's Deadly on the other side, barely to be able to survive. Endz picked up a kill onto Taxer. Routes the other members of XL who do not want to go into the face of Cospect, Tabasko, Endless. It doesn't matter. They are looking to see if they can win that game and now push up mid.
And Phantomles just removed Deadly from that fight. You want to see the Kalista run in there while the tanks are keeping everyone CC'd, but just look at the bottom side of this fight. Phantomles, after this pick, is completely focused on Deadly. So, yes, while you think Special might want to jump in, if Special's alone with just tanks, that's not going to be much use, but watch Deadly on the side. Wants to jump in, wants to join the fight. But here's Phantomles completely focusing out this Kalista, who's forced to QSS, forced to run it. By the time she rejoins, she has to flash out again.
But you gotta keep in mind, she holds on to that Guardian's Angel. Deadly does not have to worry about this Kalista dying on this next fight. That at least is a silver lining. They can still have hope. They aren't really too threatened about Deadly taking that much damage. Yes, it's flashless, but there is always hope.
Watching now with the Baron spawned, 2 minutes till Soul, so again, this comes down to the only thing everyone needs to focus. YDN have gone very aggressive with their vision control, but XL now feeling like they may have moved towards this Baron. Phantomles is here to chunk out though.
Down to 50%. Taxer was sleeping, but he's awake now. Was able to throw the glacial prison. It's the steal coming in from Taxer. You talked about it, Tig, and he finds the steal yet again, but the kill's coming in for Endz. He wants to be able to go look for more. Special going to be knocked up by the Death Charge. Dredge line, knock him back and around. Jumps back in with the Vanguard's edge, but he's not able to survive. It's a double kill for Endz. They might have been able to steal away the Baron, but they're losing members because of it.
You can see Tabasko can just chase them down here, though, while the rest of the team moves towards that top side, moves to continue that push. Because right now, XL haven't actually managed to be able to back yet, but because they have the Baron, they're going to get back very quickly. Big steal from Taxer to avoid the hard snowball.
That would have been the third Baron picked up by YDN in this game alone. Making sure that does not go into the hands of YDN is going to help them, but they are losing out on some of their base. There goes the first inhibitor turret. The inhibitor going to follow as well, because there's still 20 seconds until Special is going to revive.
Yeah, but you have to consider how bad that push would have been if it had been followed up with the Baron minions as well. So that's where the big save comes in. But let's have a look here. Taxer throws down the ultimate, runs in, actually managed to get the W off. Doesn't even get the second part, throws down that smite straight away. Incredibly timed from Taxer to take it out. And then it's the rest of the fight following through. Huge amount of chunks. Endz is just able to run through everyone here. You still see YDN still in a very commanding position. So even with all that, XL not quite in a position to fight this Italian side just yet.
Maybe this is where they want to fight. It's going to be around the Mountain Soul. This dragon will be a soul no matter who gets it. It is going to be one of the teams coming out ahead, and that will be a huge spike. It's going to make them not only tanky, but that shield that they're going to be able to get, which is why BTXL trying to see if they can have the inward path on it.
This is going to be soul for whichever team manages to pick it up, but with Ren coming and with it so low already, it looks like it's going to go over.
Too late. It's going to go over to Taxer, and the fight commences. Tabasko has to repel, but he's right on top of Taxer, who's so tanky, looking to see if they can get him to go golden, but into the back line. Endz still not jumped on just yet, but here's Special trying to see if they can get the kill, and Sendo dies in the first bout of everything. Rampage comes in from Endz, making sure they rain down the axis onto BTXL. They're not going to escape this one. Doesn't matter if they have a shield. They want to be able to win this game. YDN trying to get their first victory of European Masters.
There it
is!
Lantern
doesn't help you for the triple kill.
And the Executioner is putting on a show, getting incredibly in character with this Draven, and is going to finish off the game, leaving the UK 0-3, but more importantly, picking up that crucial first win for himself at European Masters.
Endz was thirsty. He was hungry for a victory. His first win of European Masters in his second attempt at it. Well done. A 10-1-5 Draven game. That is the way you get wins.
Whew. And the same for Cospect as well. That's massively important for another player who was looking for a win at European Masters. And a massive turnaround. On the other side, though, it's devastation for the UK. They need to refocus. They need to figure out what's gone wrong. As we talked about it before, they got reverse swept by Fnatic. Since that point, since being 2-0 up in the UK finals, they have not won a game. Before that, in that season, they had won every game.
That's crazy stuff, but congratulations over to YDN Gamers picking up their first European Masters victory. We're going to toss it to a break, but when we come back, we'll dissect that game and let you know exactly how it happened.
Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic ?
En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ces 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Welcome back into European Masters. Magical joined in a bye, Celtic Tiger, and we gotta talk about that last game, the upset that has continued to happen throughout this entire European Masters. We've seen so many upsets. This time, it's YDN Gamers picking up not only the first victory for the team, but the first victory in the history of Endz and Cospect's runs in European Masters.
Yeah, and a massive respect over to the Italian side there. I think noticing a lot of their weaknesses and trying to fix those. I think going back to comfort, going to a draft that made a lot more sense, going towards something that had a very clear win condition. It was all our picks, all our comfort picks are very snowball oriented. Let's focus on that. Now, I'm not going to say they did it perfectly. I'm going to say they perfectly, cleanly snowballed it. Absolutely not. There were points where BTXL looked like they dragged it back, looks like they were going to be given the option to scale. But instead, it was every little bit where there was that turning point. It was YDN finding the edge. Specifically, massive shout out to Phantomles for keeping them in the mid game for so long.
That's who I was about to mention. I was waiting for you to talk about Phantomles. Endz might have gone 10-1 on Draven. He was a monster on that champ, but Phantomles was the one who got him in that mid game, constantly landing these sleepy trouble bubbles throughout the fights that allowed them to consistently win.
Yeah, and there's other people to note as well. I think Tabasko did a great job on the comfort of Elise, but I think the other person who I'd have to focus down will be Gabbo on the Sett. All those big team fights, most of them were kicked off by a massive Sett ult hitting the right targets, chunking people out, and suddenly those fights were very difficult.
As you can see the standings right there on your screen, that puts YDN Gamers at 1-2, BTXL the number 2 seed of the UK, 0-3. Doesn't look like they're bringing it home this time, and honestly, you have a 3-0 start. It might be double round robin, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I almost feel like that's it. I don't, unless a miracle happens going into next week. That feels
I'd be very hesitant to say that's it. I think you could turn it around, but certainly something needs to change. Something's got to give. You have to find openings, and every single one of your opponents they manage to beat. You have to find, okay, what are the ones you can focus down? I think YDN next week, I think BTXL were close. They could maybe try bring it back there. It is up against the other two that I think they'll have the much more difficult time. Right. And that's where you got to keep watch.
And that's what I was about to say. We're going to actually be able to watch Gamers Origin and Gamer Legion coming up next, so don't go anywhere as we toss it to a break.